In this video, I'm going to share with you the secrets as to how I built my digital wellness business and became a feminine digital nomad. I now live in Mexico serving soulmate clients, and this can be a possibility for you too. I'm going to tell you how just now. So, the first thing that I did was I created a clear vision for my future that I visited every single day. So if you have a vision, you have a mission in your business that you want to create and create location freedom with that business, I suggest you visit that every single morning, not only cognitively and within the mind, but feeling it in your body as though it is already here. So what would it be like to move from that place as though that thing had already happened? That's how I operated every single day. How did I need to behave in order to make that reality that step closer every single day until it became the reality? So the next thing that I did was I said no to everything that wasn't in support of that vision. So sometimes that was really hard, and it meant being alone or being misunderstood. And a lot of the time it meant sacrificing temporary comfort and familiarity for that long-term joy and satisfaction. And so what I mean by saying no to everything that wasn't in support of the vision, it includes habits, people, and places, right? The way I was spending my time, the way that I was spending my money, the ways that I saw myself and saw the world. So it's about doing an audit of how is your life supporting that vision and getting rid of absolutely everything that isn't supporting it. So the third thing that I did was I got really selective about who I allowed in my circle and around me. I really examined the friends, the people, even my family who were in my community, and asked myself the question whether they inspired me or not. It wasn't that I dismissed the people who didn't inspire me, but I did not choose to invest in those relationships because we are a summary of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And so I knew that if I wanted to change my current reality, I needed to surround myself with people who were living in a different reality. So at that time when I was in the UK, a lot of my support network and a lot of the people who I was looking to for support actually didn't live in the UK. They were living this alternative lifestyle, being a digital nomad or traveling the world and having their own businesses that wasn't in my current community. So I had to be brave enough to be the black sheep, if you like, and to not fit into the crowd at that time. And I really sourced and looked for people in my community who were embodying these things and who inspired me in different ways and who I could have a genuine synergy and explorative relationship with. Sometimes that's hard to practice, especially if we have really close relationships with old friends and family. But if you really, really want to change and to live a life that no one else is, and you want to make that a possibility, you need to make that shift in terms of who it is that you have around you as well. So coming off the back of that, another thing that I did was I stopped asking for advice from people who weren't living the life that I want to live. That was a hard one because sometimes you want to share your you know, your heart's longings and your wins and your desires, or seek support and advice from those people you've known the longest. But unless they are living the life where you're heading, they're not going to be able to hold that potential, hold that excitement or possibility of that future. So instead, what I did was I invested and sought out mentors who were living that life and had walked the path that I wanted to walk. So I had a mentor in the Feminine Mysteries, which is what I now teach, Jane Hardwick Collins. She's amazing. I sought out an elder to teach me the ways so that I could be authentic in my teachings. And I also invested in business coaching from a business coach who worked internationally and also was a digital nomad. So being surrounded by these two people, these two forces, these influences, allowed me to really feel that this is a possibility for me too. So that's one thing I highly recommend that you do if you want to become a feminine digital nomad and build a heart-led business and travel the world or leave your current country, is to seek out those people who have done what you want to do and who you can trust to guide you and mentor you on the path. That is actually something that we offer at Rise Wild. Rise Wild is my brand. It's the community of international feminine leaders who receive mentorship from myself in how to create freedom, joy, and pleasure in their lives and businesses. So you can click the link in my channel if you want to learn more about that. So back to it. What I also did is I invested in myself. I broke through my limiting beliefs and my resistance to financially putting money down onto the things that I really wanted to do. And so I invested myself financially, energetically, emotionally. I invested in my own space so I could not be distracted and really focus on building my business. I invested in business mentorship, spiritual mentorship. I invested in really nurturing my body, in different body works and massage and different things that really showed the universe that I am abundant. I treat myself as a queen. So this is something that I love to teach and that I embody a lot, is this queenly leadership. We don't wait for that confirmation to become the queen. We are the queen at any given moment, and we need to treat ourselves with that reverence, with that respect. So don't wait for yourself to make that certain amount of money or to be at that certain level to start treating yourself really well. You need to start now. Okay? Now the next thing that I did, I devoted myself to my vision every single day. Now that didn't mean that I was hustling and grinding and burning myself out. Actually, it wasn't like that, because devotion means that you are serving for a higher good. So my vision was so big and so in devotion to the world, to the goddess, to women, to the healing of the planet, that it lit me up actually to serve and move the needle a little bit more every single day in the direction of my dream and my vision. Now, the way that I made that sustainable is that I integrated womb wisdom into my business strategy. And that's what we teach in Rise Wild. This is our method, because within womb wisdom, we have different seasons, different times for everything. So we have a time for expansion and the ascent, and we also have the time for the descent, the letting go, and the resting. Okay? So integrating that wisdom into my business strategy enabled me to sustain my energy levels, prevent burnout, and also be more productive in the process. The next thing that I did was I took risks and I never gave up, even in times when it was really tough, right? Where I didn't have the answers to anything and I didn't know what was going to come next or if I was going to be able to make it. I didn't have confirmation, right? Certainty, this certainty that we cling to. And I really doubled down into my vision, into my faith, into the possibility rather than the scarcity in those moments. And I knew that if I wanted to change things, if I really wanted to live the life that I live now, I needed to risk it. I needed to let it go without the certainty of what might come, right? Because we never know what's around the corner. Even if you have a 9-to-5 employed job, it can seem certain, but it's really not. Nothing in this life is. So I kept telling myself, it's easy to go back to what's familiar and comfortable. And we have to brave the uncertainty of the future if we want a magical life, if we want to live an extraordinary existence. I thoroughly believe that, and I'm so grateful that I did take those risks, because I wouldn't be here today with these two cheeky monkeys. And I also trusted that all would be provided for, because my intentions for my business, for my life, were in the highest good. It weren't just selfish, they were genuinely, I want to positively impact the world. And spiritually speaking, because I am a spiritually led and business-minded woman, this felt really important to me, that I was in integrity and authenticity. And not once did I waver or compromise on my values or my morals in the process to getting the life that I want. And I do believe that that's also why it was successful, because if I had tried to take shortcuts or not be authentic in the teaching, right? Not walking the walk as well as talking the talk, then I don't believe that this would have been a possibility for me, because the universe only supports things that are truly, truly in integrity, in my experience. Okay, so the next thing that I did, which was really challenging, was I gave myself a deadline. So I booked my one-way flight to Mexico, and I committed to this time frame. It was a year. I came back from Mexico in 2022. Yeah, and then I decided, that's it. I'm gonna put everything into this business. I'm gonna create it, and I'm gonna go in a year. And I booked that one-way flight, and I made myself to commit to that process, to building my business, and no matter what, I was gonna get on that flight. Okay, so you've got to take these risks. We have to put this message out into the universe that we're serious. We're not messing around. We are genuinely going for our dreams. And I don't know, I personally work quite well under a little bit of pressure, and it worked. So if it worked for me, it can work for you if you get your business strategy right and you devote yourself to your business every single day. And you have an offer that is genuinely of value to people. I wholeheartedly believe that. And a really important thing that I integrated into every single day was seeing and focusing on the sensation of having and what was already there. So when things didn't go my way in my business, and clients didn't come through, or opportunities weren't what they appeared to be, or my finances weren't expanding in the way that I thought it was going to be, I trained myself to focus on what was already there, who was there, the money that was there, the opportunities were there, the time I had to spend, the freedom I had already, and felt that in my body. I would always come back to it, so that I became a magnet for more of that, more clients, more opportunities, more money, more time, more pleasure. And this, the law of attraction, it's no secret, it's quite well known out there, and it tends to work, where our attention goes, our energy flows, right? And if we can attune ourselves, even in the most difficult of moments as entrepreneurs, to what is there and what change we are affecting in the work that we do, especially if we're heart-led, service-oriented entrepreneurs, we can really, really see that no matter what, even if it was just one person, we would still do what we do because we're so passionate about that vision, right? I know I would. Even if my work affects just one person, one woman out there, it makes me incredibly happy. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I never, ever compromised, as I said before, my values or my integrity. So there were many opportunities when I learned around business methods and strategies and this next thing and sales and, the hard sales, this all hyper masculine approaches. It just didn't sit right in my system. I always felt icky. So something that I never compromised on was the integrity of the way that I show up and present and market and find my soulmate clients. Instead, I adopted feminine strategies of magnetizing the clients, becoming the frequency, the embodied match for those types of clients, so that I could recognize them and they could recognize me when we did meet, wherever that might be. And that takes a lot of surrender and trust to really allow ourselves to know that the right people are looking for us, and they will find us in the right moment. I wholeheartedly believe this to be true and have experienced this as well in the last 10 to 12 years of being an entrepreneur. And I think that having this integrity and the authenticity behind the message and the offer and the sales and the marketing and everything that you're doing in your business is what makes it successful. You need to be practicing what you preach, walking the walk as well as talking the talk. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. It might work in the short term, but it won't work in the long term. Another thing that I did every single day, without doubt, was I felt the fear and I did it anyway. You have to be rebellious, we have to be courageous and adventurous as feminine entrepreneurs, especially if you want to be a digital nomad and travel the world. We need to have that fire in our belly that desires something more than the conditions, the environment within which that you were born into. And that fire, that desire is what drives you ultimately to creating that life of freedom. I want to share with you a little story actually about my Wolfie here. Come here, Wolfie, so you can see everyone. Wolfie is my second dog, and he's an example of how when you really really focus and hold the tension, so not settling, right? Not settling for something else. You get rewarded when you least expect it with the thing that you are manifesting and calling in. So I lost my dog. My dog died in 2020, my other dog, in the UK, and it really broke my heart, as you can imagine. Now, I had so many opportunities to get another dog and adopt or get a small dog. Everyone told me get a small dog, but I knew I wanted a big dog and I wanted it to look like a wolf. And I waited and I waited and I waited until I came here to Mexico, and he found me. He found me. It was a rescue. He was 1 month old, and it was in just the right time when I was ready to commit and settle in a place, and I wasn't compromising on anything. So that's a little story as to how this stuff can work for you. Okay, so another thing that I did, especially creating a digital wellness business, was I made friends with technology and I created robust masculine systems to support my digital business. This was a massive learning curve for me, and still is, as I level up and automate and integrate different softwares within my business. But it was so empowering to me as a woman to really get my head around the technology side, which I'd always said that I was not good at. I failed ICT in school. I had to take it 3 times in college, and it's not something that I identified as being a strength of mine. But now I have totally reframed that, and it's become the basis of the work that I do. And it's something that I'm really proud of. So if I can do it, you can do it too. And the final thing that I want to share with you today as to how I created my digital wellness business and became a feminine digital nomad is that I worked through all of the internal blocks to allow my voice to be heard and allow myself to be seen. So that means that I allowed myself to speak on social media, to talk to the camera, to really let myself be heard, which is a challenge for many of us, especially as women. But when I realized that this was the only way that I was truly going to serve more women and actualize my dream and my purpose, it became a lot easier. If you feel a block or resistance to being seen, I totally understand. And it is something that we uncover and we look into in Rise Wild in the mentorship for feminine leaders. So feel free to join us on there. We would love to meet you if you are a woman with a big dream, a big vision, and a rebellious spirit. So this is all for today. I've given you some real gems in this video as to ways that you can start to move towards becoming a feminine digital nomad. I would love to know in the comments below what else you want to know as to how to create location, time, financial freedom in your business, how to heal your womb space, to connect with other like-minded women, and to create a life on your own terms. Let me know.